Hello everyone, welcome to today's online event, Dialogue with Whom is World Hardest. Since China's reform and openly up policies, many people from all around the world come here. Over several decades, foreigners have contributed their roles in the comprehensive development of China. At the same time, they have also witnessed the progress in China and experiencing the best years of their lives. Today, we are fortunate to have two China experts who have been rooted in China for many years, David Moser and Volker Müller. Hi, could both of you say hello to our audience in both Chinese and English, please?
你好, just good afternoon to you.
Thank you. And how about David? So we'll just continue our conversation. So first of all, could Volker give us a brief self-introduction, please? Shall we start with you?
Yeah, okay. My name is Volker Müller. In Chinese, it's Mi Fu. I grew up in a small town in northern Germany. Then I studied electrical engineering with a focus what today would be called artificial intelligence. Then after a few years working in Germany in 1987, I came to China. My first job was in Chongqing University as a research assistant. Later on in the 1990s, I went to Shanghai, and in late 2000, I came to Beijing. And also at that time, I changed my field of work. Since then, since 2000, I'm working in the healthcare field. Now this year, I am officially retired, but I still want to do some contribution for cooperation with between China and Europe. And also, I'm working on translating books of Chinese authors to make it available for German-speaking audience.
Thank you for being here again. Now, is David here? Okay. Now let's officially begin with our questions. We're able to have this dialogue with you because of the book. What were your initial feelings when you received the proposal to tell about your stories? And how do you understand the phrase, as well as the title of the book, Home is Where the Heart Is?
Shall I start again?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Okay, when I mean, I already had a plan. Next year, I want to write down all the experience of China's reform and opening up policies that I experienced myself. So it was more or less a pleasant surprise that someone else already had that idea. So I was very willing to contribute. About the title of the book, I find it interesting to experience myself. In nowadays, I think, globalized world, migration is a gradual process. So when I came to China, I think the first years, I always would feel, I would say that my home is still in Germany. And then a few years later, I would say I have two homes, one in Germany and one in China. And a few years later again, then my major home, or my focus of life, my home became China. So I think this book title is quite interesting to describe this process.
So this book means something special to you, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Um, okay,
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you now. Oh, so, could you say hello to our audience? Debbie?
Hello, everyone. 下午好. At least where
Uh,
I am, it's 下午好. Good to see you.
good to see you too. And could you just give us a brief self-introduction, please?
Okay, my name's David Moser. I've been in China for over 35 years. I have a PhD from University of Michigan. I've taught at various universities.
Sorry, there is something wrong with your laptop, so maybe you can just enter again. Okay, thank you. And we continue our chart. So the next question we want to talking about is the stories in the book largely revolve around your life in China over the years. What do you find most attractive about China today? This question is for Volker.
I would say China or Chinese, it's not just a country. I would say it's a kind of attitude to life. I'm still always fascinating how young entrepreneurs with no financial means, how they build up their own companies, how people are optimistic, how they manage to how they manage their own life. Even people from very remote areas, from national minorities, who manage to get their way up to jobs in international companies. So this attitude to life, this optimistic attitude, I find really fascinating.
Okay, thank you. So, you feel the Chinese people has very optimistic attitude to face the life and the things the people they encountered, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. As a foreigners, you have witnessed the Chinese reform and are openly up firsthand. So it's a very valuable experience. If you need to conclude your feelings about China's change in just one word, what would it be and why?
I mean, one word is difficult. I would choose the English word unique because,
Unique, right?
yes,
Okay.
because now it's 1.4 billion people, changed the life so completely within a relatively short uh, span of 30, 35, 40 years. This has never ever happened in other parts of the world. So therefore, I choose this one term, unique.
Unique. Okay, thank you very much. Is that David, or you can speak right now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry,
Okay.
the
Uh,
internet is not very good here, I guess.
no, it doesn't matter. So we just continue our chart. So, how do you think about how do you get some answer for the former question? Is as a foreigner, you witnessed the China's reform and opening up firsthand. If you need to conclude your feelings about China's change, which word do you want to choose to use? The focus just use a unique. How about you?
Well, I think I'm similar to Volker in his answer. I would use the word unprecedented. He
Okay.
used the word unique. That's just
Yes.
somewhat what I had in mind. Yes. So we've never seen in history a country rise this fast over such a
Mm-hmm.
short period of time. And for me, as a foreigner living here in 1986 through the 1990s, it was astounding to see the new things that would come in virtually every day or every week. And
Mm-hmm.
also to see such an incredible string of very high GDP levels. So it was amazing to see how fast the country developed, how fast it opened up. and how fast they were able to incorporate so many foreign ideas. So I'm sure this is the only case in history where a country had come from so far backward and so far forward in such a short period of time.
Okay, both of you, the conclusion is very amazing. And now let's switch your topics based on your in the book. David talking about the cultural difference between China and the US, and the topic in the book for Volker is medical service, right? And now let's switch topics based on your experience. Volker, could you please share what you think is the most significant cultural differences between China and Germany? And David, what insights do you have regarding China's healthcare development? Has accessing healthcare become more convenient? Shall we start with Volker?
Yeah, I would like to answer in a little different way, if you allow. I think that cultural differences between Germany and China are not as big as they are often portrayed. I think China and Germany have many cultural similarities, and I think it's important to focus on similarities and not on differences.
Okay, so you
For
think it's quite...
example, both China and Germany are very, I would say, rational cultures. Let's say compared with Southern Asia, where cultures are very much influenced by religion. This is not the case in Germany, not the case in China. Then this thinking that people can improve their lives through education. This is a very similar attitude both in China and Germany, that people or also a government are very precise to write things down very precisely and follow it by the letter. These are also things what I find very similar in China and in Germany. When talking about differences, I would say the main difference, especially I think in the last 20 or so years, that Germany has very much turned to, I can say, extreme individualism, and China has more maintained a collective, a more sense of community, what we especially had seen in a crisis like COVID, that helped to maintain the crisis. And when you talk with psychologists, the main or one main factor for happiness, for well-being, is the relation with other people. So, and therefore, I think this spirit of community, this is something what I really like in China.
Okay, and so you feel and quite similar with China and Germany now, and the major difference should be maybe in individualism, and maybe in China is much more maintain the relationship with the other people, right?
Yes.
Okay, and how about David? What insights do you have about China's healthcare development? Depends on your own experiences. Has accessing healthcare become more convenient now compared with the past?
Yes, well, Volker probably knows more than I do about this, but my own experience, I have relatives in the countryside. So I've noticed that China is coming very close to what would be a comprehensive healthcare system available to everyone, which is a rather amazing task completion for a country with such a large population. I know the challenge has been to bring good healthcare not only to the cities, but to the countryside. And I find when I go out to in places like Hebei, where my relatives are, their healthcare facilities are much better and are able to get access pretty quickly. My in-laws used to very often come to Beijing to get healthcare because they didn't trust the healthcare in their province that they lived in. And now they more or less, most problems, unless it's a very serious one, they'll just prefer to get it where they live. Also, I've noticed a good mix of local and foreign healthcare providers. So there are the local hospitals, and then there are lots of, I guess some of them are joint ventures, but healthcare providers and clinics from other countries. And there's a good mix of these two, and they're getting increasingly to the price range where the average Chinese citizen can get access to either one, as conditions are rising and people have more income, they're able to have better choices of different kinds of healthcare facilities. Also, WeChat and other digital platforms have really made it much easier to schedule appointments and access medical records and results. That used to be a nightmare to schedule to get an appointment. You had to go there, get a number, and wait. And now it's getting more and more easy to bypass that. There are still some problems with overcrowded hospitals, especially during the winter cold season. Lately, we've seen a rush of patients to hospitals, but the overall convenience of the digital scheduling of appointments, and of course the increasingly modern medical technology, basically anyone can get treated for their ailments in a reasonable amount of time and at a reasonably affordable cost. And that's not an easy thing to accomplish, but they're reaching that level where healthcare is much better. From my observations, at least, healthcare is much easier, more convenient, and quicker than it was when I came. Certainly, when I came here in the 1980s.
Okay, so you think it's became much more better than the past, right? And both of your insights were truly remarkable. Having both of you here at the same time is quite special. Let's now dedicate this time to our online audience. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box or open your microphones to ask directly to our two guests. Hi, the name is Christine. Christine, you say hi to you. David, he said he's very deeply interested in China. If you were to suggest a quick way for me to understand China, what would it be?
Okay, well, a lot depends on your own personality and your goals in life and why you're interested in China. But for me, as a piece of advice, I think the best way, or a shortcut, if you will, to understanding China is to try to get an understanding through the guidance of a Chinese person. If you're not currently in China, it's a really great experience to just try to get to know, to meet and get to know a Chinese person, and to make their acquaintance, to learn about them and their lives, and make friends with them. Making friends or several friends, or getting to know them and learning about their lives, their education, their goals and dreams, is a great way to learn about China. You can ask them to take you to their favorite places or eat their favorite food. Any Chinese person is a font of information and lived experience about China. I find most foreigners, when they first begin to get into China, rather do it on their own as an outsider, as a spectator. They go to tourist areas. They may climb mountains and see and ride the gaotie, the fast train and things, and get a sense of the surface level situation in China. But the sooner you get to become friends with contacts, colleagues, and people who live here, ordinary people who live here, you'll get a much better understanding of the lives of Chinese people and the reality of their daily life, and the wonderful things they have here, and the problems that they have here, and get it firsthand. So for me, I felt that I really didn't get a good understanding of China until I began to actually spend most of my time with Chinese people, and made friends with them, and focus all my activities on cooperating or collaborating with them. And I learned a lot about China through their eyes, and what insights they gave me. And I have to tell you, actually interacting with Chinese people helped me learn a lot more about myself and my own culture, some of the aspects of which were invisible to me until I actually began to interact with Chinese people who had a very different way of looking at life sometimes. So that's my advice, is maybe meet a Chinese person and become their friend.
Oh, it's really a good idea. Try to find a guidance and Chinese people to be a guidance, making friends with him and know his life, which food he want to eat, and to deeply interested and it will be helpful, right?
Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Debbie. Oh, hello, Mr. Mifu. I have a question to ask you. I hope to receive your answer. Healthcare advertisement is a global topic. Volker, from a personal perspective, what are your thoughts or suggestions regarding China's future in healthcare?
I think Volker is frozen.
Yes,
We don't
maybe
see.
something wrong.
We can't see him. We can't hear him.
Oh, David, you think this sometime shall we discuss some interesting questions?
Sure.
What's your favorite food in China? And if you want to recommend China to the world, what would you say?
So your first question was, what's my favorite food?
Yes. It's your favorite
Oh,
food.
that's easy. Oh, that's very easy. Sichuan food.
Sichuan food, the hot pot.
Yeah, hot pot. Anything that's spicy, hot. I love Sichuan food. And I think I even like it more than some Chinese people. Some of my friends say, "Oh, that's too hot. I can't eat it," but I love it.
I think it's
Yeah.
quite spicy, but you can eat it, right?
Yeah, but there's a difference between hot foods, spicy foods in China. There's the Sichuan variety that I really like, and they have this, that they call this type of taste sort of mala, right?
Yeah.
Which is so when you eat it, it actually it tastes good, and you also it makes your mouth water. But then there's another kind of spicy food in Hunan that's sort of what they call it ganla. And for me,
it's quite spicy than Sichuan, right?
yeah. So
Much more spicy.
Hunan spicy sometimes is too much for me. It's just too hot.
So have you been to Jiangxi province? The spicy there is quite much spicy than Hunan.
Okay, well, as long as it's Sichuan, I'm happy. And anything from Sichuan, I'm really
okay. Okay, fine. So and if you need to recommend China to the world, what would you say? It is in just one sentence or very short distance. What would you say?
I would say, in a short sentence, I would say it's a country that will make you learn more about your own country, and the reason is because it's there are these very interesting differences and wonderful things about China that makes you make comparisons to your own culture, and you find that very often Volker already mentioned this. This feeling of collectivism, of the other person, and taking care of everybody, of 大家 instead of just yourself.
Yes.
I think
this opinion just mentioned by Volker, right?
Right. And I think that's something we learn about. I could give an example. When I first came here, I would sometimes go into a convenience store like a Bianli Dian or something, and I would buy some candy or chewing gum for myself. And when I came out, the people would look, my Chinese friends would look at me and with sort of like judging me, like, what? You didn't buy any for us? And that's when I learned this word. I think it's 独食, to eating selfish food.
Yeah, selfish food.
Yeah, selfish food. So I learned my lesson after that day to buy something for everybody.
So you know the tradition concept
Right.
of Chinese. Okay, and look at the chat box. There is someone from Sichuan. He's so happy that you can enjoy Sichuan food.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The Foka is already entered into the room, and there is someone ask you questions about the Chinese healthcare. Have you seen that?
Yes, I've always heard you. I didn't notice that you couldn't hear me. I mean,
Yes, there is something wrong with the network, maybe.
China is facing a lot of challenges that are similar to other countries like Korea, like Japan, also like European countries. That is the aging of the population, and this is something where China needs to adapt its healthcare system. Because first, of course, senior citizens are becoming more frequent, or get more frequently diseases than young people. This is common knowledge, and so this a way that is adapted to Chinese situation here. That in China, the family is in most cases caring for senior citizens, but often they don't have the know-how, they don't have the medical background to do that. So to develop a system of home care that supports families in caring for senior citizens, for their relatives, a mixture of hospitals when really necessary, a mixture of community health care plus family health care. So this is something that exists now in very basic terms, and with some pilot projects. That this is really a challenge that China is facing during the next 10 to 20 years. And what I said, similar challenges other countries are facing too, and this is something I think where we should establish more international cooperation and see what we can learn from each other.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your opinion. And the last but not the least questions from Annie. She just maybe a girl. She just asked David and Foka, are you working on new books now?
First of them, I mean, my native language is German. I cannot write in English. I have just finished to translate 2 books from a Chongqing travel author, Hong Chen, translated them into German, about the traveling in the Himalaya. One about the northern side, about Tibet, now more or less called Xizang, and another about the southern part of Nepal. So if one of you can read German, I think, and is lovely, likes to travel in the Himalayan area, that would be interesting. My next project is about the main axis of Beijing. You may have heard that this central axis of Beijing, that Beijing has applied, that this becomes a UNESCO heritage, cultural heritage. And I'm going to write a book about that also in German language. And then the next project, what I have said in 2024, what I want to do really to write down all my experience about this 35 plus years reforms in China. And that I want to write both a German and a Chinese version, because I think for different audiences, they would probably slightly have slightly different points of interest. So it cannot be simply translated, but I would like to write both the Chinese and the German version.
Okay, thank you. There is a good plan. And how about David? Do you have a new book?
Yes, right now I'm writing after my book on Putonghua. A lot of people expressed a lot of interest in the characters. And what I'm writing now is a book that sort of explains all the interesting and confusing and hard to understand aspects of Chinese characters, where they come from, how they work. But I want to write it for not for specialists and experts, but write it for just ordinary people who have curiosity about them. So it's going to cover every aspect of characters from the beginning until the current time, including simplify the 简体字 and the 繁体字 and all these issues. But I want to write it in a way that's accessible to just an educated reader. And that's actually kind of difficult, because it's hard to explain some of these technical aspects and the linguistic aspects to an ordinary audience, but it's fun. And I think that people will find it interesting, a way of understanding what Chinese characters are all about, because there's a lot of curiosity about it, but the only information most people can get are very technical journals and books that they're not able to quite understand. So that's what I'm working on now.
Okay, thank you. Annie, are you satisfied with the answers? And time flies, and we are so grateful for both David and Volker here. If you are interested in their experiences, please read further into Home is Where the Heart Is. And the book also has stories from 7 other guests from diverse countries. Their appearances, habits, and cultural backgrounds may differ, but they are adapted and integrated with China very well. Remarkable stories unfold within those transitions. Home is Where the Heart is an opportunity not to be missed. Thank you for your participating and listening. Let's post the link for the book in the public chat. This is the link I posted in the public chat box. So that interested listeners can make a purchase. And hope to see you guys next time. Bye. So that's
Thank
all.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Say
Okay,
bye.